GM, we are live. This is a 20-second schnauzer. Chris, thank you so much for stopping by. I was hoping to get some of us in here, and then I hopped in. It was about to snap Phil, so I was started early in hopes of telling everyone that they could hop in, and then it filled faster than expected. Dirty P, not a speck of light of showing. The danger must be growing. The rowers keep on rowing, and they are not showing signs of slowing. Indeed, as Willy Wonka would say, just take Saquon Barkley at the 103. Rice and Adams riding that Wonka boat to the 2-3 turn. I'm still buying at these prices. If you want them, then you have to. Yesterday's price is not today's price. I'm still buying Adams. I'm having a big trouble with Rashee Rice. I didn't love his price before, and I really do not love it now. GM, Chris, GM maxed it anyway. Yeah, I'll definitely, I'm pretty sure I'm going to run a BBM after this, and I will give everyone ample warning who wants to hop in. As you can see, I am not at my normal streaming setup. Let me make sure I have the right audio input. Let me make sure. I do. Okay. All right. So we should be okay. If anything sounds weird, please let me know. I hopped on a couple minutes early again because I saw this was about to fill, and I wanted to see if people could get in, but I don't think anyone hopped in. I don't think we were able to get it, but we will get the ducks going, I think. All right. All right. So let's pull up the board, make sure no one's doing anything too weird. You sometimes see odd stuff in these $3 drafts. Derrick Henry going at 11. I guess you could categorize that in the odd stuff range, but not too out of the ordinary. When you take him at 11, you very often just get the guy you would have taken at 11 at the 14 spot. So it doesn't end up doing anything too out of the ordinary. Justin Jefferson going at 2 is somewhat frequently. I think there might be a little bit of fear with Genty that it could be more of a committee than we're hoping. We're really paying bell cow prices, but if we're getting any kind of split with Mostert and McCormick, it's going to feel pretty bad. You know, the rational coaching theory says that they shouldn't do that, but coaches are not always rational. They do not always do what the fantasy community wants them to do. So let's hope that's not the case. But again, it's becoming evident to me that it might be a defensible take to take CMC ahead of Genty, especially if CMC's health news keeps coming out good. I'm just going to take Jonathan Taylor. We're going to start really robust. We're going to do a high tea morning here, a high tea Monday morning to start off your week. And what's more high tea? Who is more high tea in this community than Tyler, emo cowboy? Because nothing says high tea like emo and the emo lifestyle. But Tyler, thank you so much for coming by. The Typhel Tower stream was fantastic. They're over on their own new channel, so I highly recommend subscribing to that. It is one of the more entertaining shows, and they're also sharp. All those guys are sharp, so you could learn a thing or two and have fun on the way, which is why you're all here, right? All right. Anyway, definitely going to take a wide receiver here. I don't find myself getting a whole lot of T. Higgins, but again, if I don't take him a little bit past ADP at this point, then I'm simply never going to take T. Higgins, and I don't know if that's what I want. In a vacuum, I am definitely Garrett Wilson and Tyreek Hill over Higgins. This was a little bit more of an exposure thing. Maybe in a schnauzer, I can make that more player takey than exposures, but this does at least open the door for the Burrow push. So we'll see. We're not going to take Burrow at the 4-5. We'll see. Although with Greg taking Chase, probably he's going to snap him off there because he has a pretty big bet on the Bengals. Best ball and call. Thank you so much for coming by. Early like, off to a good start. Yes, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. I don't remember if I put on sub chat today, if that's a feature I have to put on every day. If I haven't, and you're freeloading, consider subbing. It would help me out. This is Pete Carroll we're talking about. Genty going to run till he pukes. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But he has talked a little bit more about this being utilizing some of the other backs. And again, And what are you going to say? Like, oh, these guys are never going to see the field. Like you're trying to motivate players. So sometimes reading too much into what these coaches are saying in June can be a little dicey, but it does. I'm at least open to the idea that we're going to see more of the like gross backs in Las Vegas. And then we want to Tyler agreeing with Dirty P. Crander 47 GM, thank you so much for coming by this morning. One of the real ones hanging out. Tyler's made his peace with CMCs. We're taking because he's healthy and will project for the best workload in the NFL every week, but he looks 2x more likely for injury per the fantasy docs data. Yeah, I saw some of those tweets about re-injury risk going around, and it is pretty interesting stuff. It is always hard to tell though, because I don't know. I feel like athletes can be unique, and there's so much luck when it comes to injury. Like, I feel like some injuries might be more predictive than others. Like soft tissue stuff feels maybe, but if like you blow out your knee because someone hit it, like you just got a bad collision, like helmet to knee or something. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. That's just like gonna happen randomly. So I don't know. I'd have to look more into that. I suppose the Achilles stuff might be closer to soft tissue range. Speaking of catastrophic knee injuries, I'll take Xavier Worthy here. This is of course a reference to Rashee Rice, not Xavier Worthy, who I think is fine, but I'm not going to be a bye week bro. Week 10 might suck, but we'll figure it out. Just take the ADP value, open up another quarterback I like with Mahomes, who could be coming around at the turn here. We will see what is made available. We'll see if Greg takes Burrow like I am expecting. And I am likely to add another receiver to this range. Amari Hampton is tempting. I'd probably take Devonta, maybe do a little bit of a bigger bet on the Eagles, and Eagles without Hurts bet. I could take Sutton though as a week 17 bring back on Worthy. I think I'm going to take Sutton. Again, this also opens up Nix as a potential quarterback, and Nix goes in this range around pick 100. So that's a reasonably lines up on the board. Players are all prone to injury, and CMC being 2x more is hard to quantify for actual more likely than normal in a statistically significant way. Yeah, it's one of those things. They're like, if your doors on your car are locked, they're like, 10 times less likely to open in a collision. But like, how likely are they to open in a collision anyway? Like, not very. So like, I've always found like you can do those like more likely statistics, but if the baseline is already like very low, or I don't know, like anyway, those things sometimes I think like you can end up drawing the wrong conclusion if the original like risk is X and you're like, oh, it's like 10 times X, but X is like near zero. Anyway, I don't think I explained that well. I'm not a math guy, as you can tell. Dirty P says he feels like he underwent gene therapy while taking a session to rest his body. Is probably in better shape than Saquon or Henry or Jacobs or Mixon. Yeah, German stem cells. I mean, Kittle got those German stem cells, and he had like pretty darn healthy season last year. So, we'll see if those are available. Unfortunately, Mr. Halliburton last night was not fortified with stem cells from any country, and that was tough because that was a fun game and a fun series. I don't watch too much NBA, but I went into it rooting for the Thunder, and then when Halliburton went down, it was like, well, that'd be pretty awesome if they could overcome it. Unfortunately, Peacocks here decided that he needed to go 105 and take unstacked Burrow. That's okay. These things do happen to us. Pulling up the board, nothing too crazy. Hurts going ahead of Daniels is unusual, but it was to the AJ Brown drafter, so there was method to the madness there. Peacock's true piss boy, 5 receivers, 1 quarterback. Myself with 2 backs and 3 receivers, but I did open with 2 running backs, so trying to catch up at the other positions. I would absolutely take RJ Harvey if he falls to me. I'm just going to take RJ Harvey. Now we've got a nice bet on the Nice bet on the Broncos. This definitely makes Bo Nix a priority for us. I don't know if I want to do a reach for Mahomes, especially if I'm really going to count on taking Nix next. So I am likely to just take the next best receiver to come my way, unless something truly unusual happens. James Young agreeing with Dirty P about the stem cells for our boy who get to rest an entire season versus the dust balls of Henry, Jacobs, and Mixon, who were all taking without question. Let's see. I don't mind Jaden Reed. I think I'm just going to take the ADP value on Debo. I'm willing to buy a little bit of a Debo resurgence coming up next year. If he is back to form, then getting Debo in the second round is going to seem pretty darn nice. Debo as a fourth wide receiver also seems pretty good to me. I'll pull the board back up so people can watch that crawl along. Yes, James. Oh, James is not agreeing. James is not agreeing. CMC 101. What could go wrong? Yeah, I know. I did not advance a single 101 I got last year in BBM. I was 0 for 22, I believe, was my final number. And my advance rate was like slightly below average. I advanced 19 teams through, and then 5 in the semis. So I had a below average advance rate, but I had a good rate getting to the semis, and then nobody made it to the finals because Terry McLaurin took the week off. GM CLN 2013. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Let's see. There goes Baker at 77. That seems kind of early for Baker. But, you got to pair Baker with Bucky Irving and no receivers. That makes sense. Maybe he'll take Egbuka at 92. You never know. Mahomes still hasn't gone, but I expect where's the Rice guy? Where is the Rice enthusiast? So he's over here at 23. We'll see if Mahomes makes it all the way back to us. That would be kind of interesting. If he did, we could definitely consider that. Oh, nope. Mahomes goes to the guy who took Joe Burrow unstacked. That's, at least Peacocks 2 has a type. At least Peacocks 2 has a type. And they are nothing if not consistent here. But again, it's a schnauzer. People, you cannot expect too much from the schnauzer-based community. Pulling up the board, unless there is some truly screaming value, I think I just want to take Bo Nix here. The people after me all need quarterbacks. Bo Nix can be reasonably taken unstacked. It's not my favorite thing to do, but you see it often enough that it would not surprise me if it went down that way. I like some of these guys, but not enough to pass on the Nix, Harvey, Sutton situation we have there. Travis Kelce might make sense because then we really would have a nice Week 17 matchup. If not, I could take. I'm really out on Brian Robinson, but that is a nice fall on him there. And I have Debo, so I could tell myself a little story there. I do think I generally prefer Mason to Brian Robinson. Interesting question here of what we do. So there goes Justin Fields. So Greg Scott double taps quarterbacks for, okay, I guess he did have Pickens. So Robinson goes. So the question is, do we take Mason or do we take Kelce? I think I'm going to take Kelce. With Worthy, we'll take Travis Kelce. We'll build out this Week 17 game between Denver and Kansas City. Not my favorite game to stack. I could see that being somewhat low scoring, but yep. The only issue here is now, as far as future quarterbacks, I really don't have any good stacking partners. Nothing is coming to nothing is coming too much to mind. Could I have taken Evan Ingram? Maybe, but again, want to mix it up. I don't end up with a whole lot of Travis Kelce, so not too unhappy to end up with that. Pulling the board back up. Yep. Nothing too interesting here. Feels early for Drake May. Drake May going completely unstacked. So this room is this is an interesting room. Are you encouraged by the Kelce weight loss? Yes, because he was looking like mad tubby at the end of last season, and like he was saying, like Taylor Swift made him cinnamon rolls, and I thought it was a joke, but I don't know. Like she probably didn't like make it herself. Like she's far too busy to be like baking cinnamon rolls. But somebody was making cinnamon rolls for Travis Kelce, and that did not appear to be a lie. He did not look very spry. There were some times where he would catch the ball opening in the field, and it looked like when you played Madden and like somehow like a ball would get tipped to an offensive lineman, and they would be moving in like slow motion. It was a tough watch last season. But I think with that, I might take some my other tight ends. I might try to take some of the older veterans who I don't think will get off to as a slow of a start than the kind of rookie dart throws, because I do think Travis Kelce could have kind of a back-weighted production, just the way they were using him, kind of almost saving him for the playoffs in kind of a NBA-like fashion. So we'll see how we wind up the tight end room. But that's generally my thoughts with Kelce, is I don't want to pair him with like Mason and Arroyo types late, because it could end up being pretty tough in the early going to be getting any points out of there. Chad, GM Al Boogie, thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate it. Skeletor, thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Happy to be with everybody this beautiful, hot Monday morning. I think it's hot all across the country right now. And so, yeah, it's a tough scene. It is a tough scene. Don't have any QB stacking options. I could take Burden and then hope Caleb comes around. If I take Caleb and get him unstacked, I'm unhappy. Burden has been a big faller lately. Shoot. I'm just taking, oh no. I didn't do it. Too slow. Too slow. Did not get it off in time. Well, we'll see if Joe Cat takes Caleb. I probably should have checked to see if he had any Bears before I did that, but let's see if we can actually do this Caleb thing. I thought about doing Love and Kraft. I don't hate that stack at this point in the draft, especially because Kraft would not come. Neither of them are going to be available to me in the next round. And again, Burden has been a pretty big faller this year. He's all the way in the like 130s, 140s over on DK. And yeah, I think he's going to continue to slide. All right, so he takes McCarthy. So we do get Caleb. So we built a little bit of a backdoor stack here. I guess you wouldn't call this a backdoor stack in the 11th round, but we were able to cobble together a stack I was not expecting to. Nice value on Caleb, at least, going at 123. That's pretty late. If that had not worked, probably would have just taken Marvin Mims to build out Denver, and then maybe gone for some quarterbacks I think might have some rushing upside if I have to take him naked, like a Cam Ward, Jackson Dart would have been the kind of emergency backup plan. Al Boogie, you did not miss the cream cheese spreading. You did not. I actually am in a certain amount of trouble. I will confess to all of you people. I went to the grocery store with a long list of things, and at the top of the list was supposed to be cream cheese, and I didn't get it. And so now my wife had to have cereal for breakfast instead of one of my cream cheese bagels, because we are out of cream cheese at the Casa de Candles. So tough times here. But after this stream, I'm going to put Best Ball Breakfast on the audio and go to the grocery store in shame and get the cream cheese. Rashee Rice isn't the only thing rising around here. Good morning, Lay the House RM. One of the good ones has a great Twitter in the more focused on the betting space. So if you're out there in the sportsbook streets, Lay the House RM is a terrific Twitter follow and also a all-around good guy. Best Ball and Call 96 here. Installing an Attic fan. Lost 3 pounds in 5 rounds. Yeah, it's tough. It is hot. It is so hot. My AC was like running all night and could barely keep up with the temperature. CLN got Cam Ward at 190 on DK the other day as a third QB. Yeah, that's tough to pass if you need a third QB. It's yeah. I know, Alboogie, I messed up. I'm in a little bit of trouble here, but what I'm hoping is that when these drafts are done, I can show her that I got Caleb at pick 123, and she says it's fine that I had to have crummy cereal for breakfast because you got a screaming ADP value. I'm sure that's how it's going to go. All right, let's see what else we can do. Just looking at my options here, I don't have any like really apparent back stacks I can make. Hollywood Brown is a faller. Again, that would be another Kansas City receiver. So I really could just kind of go all in on KC. None of these running backs are particularly interesting. I could take either Likely or Fergie, depending on who. So I'm going to do the Hollywood Brown thing. We're going to just like make a bet on the we're going to make a bet on Kansas City without Mahomes and just hope that one of our other quarterbacks can outscore him. I don't know. I don't love taking Hollywood Brown, but I do think he made a certain amount of sense on this particular team. I don't want to do something like Stroud and a late Knoll. That seems a little too cute. Again, with Saquon Taylor and Harvey, I could probably push running back a little bit. I'm going to take Isaiah Likely. Potential breakout candidate. They run a lot of 12 over in Baltimore, has standalone value and just monstrous contingent value. And that can be kind of hard to find in a tight end. So I think he makes a certain amount of sense on this team. All right. I'll pull the board back up and off we go. Try to see if anyone else is doing anything too crazy. Craig Josh looks like they already have a bunch of quarterbacks. Tua, Penix, and May. So at least unlike May, Tua and Penix appear to be stacked. So that makes sense. Yep, not seeing anything too alarming or anything I have to truly watch out for. At 166, 171, QB can get pretty thin in these rooms. Have to decide if I want to take a third QB on this team. I think Caleb's and Nick's is pretty close to the line where I might cut it at, where I feel okay cutting it at 2. I definitely am kind of 3 QB pilled, but not at the cost of any kind of good value, and maybe not trying to like jam in any stacks late that I don't feel good about. But if I could get like a young Geno or Ward, I probably would take them because I think those guys are more likely than not to hit my lineup at least a couple times. I'll queue up Roshan. If he comes to me, he to me would be a nice addition to the team to pair up with Caleb and Burden there. But I find it unlikely that he will come around. But we will see. If he's gone, I would not mind Geno Smith. I think he would be a nice addition, although passing on Pat Bryant does feel potentially incorrect. If I took Geno Smith, I would then probably have to take like a Thornton later, which I do like. Interesting choice here if Nick Lacy does not. Okay, so he takes Geno. I'm going to take Pat Bryant here, and this is probably going to end at 7 receivers with Higgins, Worthy, Sutton, Samuel, Burden, Brown, and Bryant, which a little bit forecloses me from going any truly late stacks. If Cam Ward comes, I could take Cam Ward and Chig and end the team there. If Cam Ward goes, then I probably would take Wright, Allen, or Dowdle. But that might be the move anyway. Again, I think forcing a third QB on this team might just be wrong. Again, it's tough. Some of these structure questions can really be kind of interesting thought exercises, and I do like the way this team has come together so far, and feel like I don't want to screw it up too badly. My preference, I believe, would be Allen over Dowdle, although I like both of them. So there goes Strange. He's one of my favorite late tight end clicks, but I don't think he would have been the right play here. So he takes Braylon Allen. He leaves me Rico Dowdle, who I will queue up. I think at this point, taking Dowdle makes sense. I think he's one of those guys. Again, I mentioned that earlier as far as likely, but Dowdle is a standalone plus contingent value kind of player. I haven't taken a running back since pick 70. I'm taking 100 picks later. I think it was time to do that there. And again, if we have the opportunity to add on like a really late Darnold or Ward, I would, but otherwise, I don't think that's too necessary to force in. So there goes Cam Ward. We'll pull the board back up. Gesicki went right after me. I like Mike Gesicki a lot at that pick 172 range. I think he's a little bit underrated, and going 20 plus picks after Freiermuth seems a little bit silly. Going behind Hunter Henry, to me, that I don't even know if that's right. The way that we're ranking these guys. So some of these late tight ends, you really can cobble together a tight end room that, at least on paper, looks not too shabby. Again, I will remind everyone, if you have not liked and subscribed, please do so. That helps keep the lights on here, helps keep the cream cheese flowing. And yeah, I'm going to have to update my exposure board because I did a couple of BBMs over the weekend. Definitely agree with the conclusion that drafting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday can be softer than during the week. Especially some of these morning streams can be pretty sharp rooms. Not every room. Some rooms you get people taking Burrow and Mahomes unstacked. That happens too. That happens too. Sam Darnold goes at 185, so that precludes the Darnold MVS bailout stack from happening on this particular team. Probably take Chig. I think he would be my preference over Schultz. Schultz is a very kind of unexciting pick. I think he kind of got the nut run out last year and still wasn't able to do anything with it. I'm going to take Chig on this team. Try to think if there's any reason to take one of the other guys. We'll add him to the roster. We'll add Chig to the roster. Yes, I have 2 week 10 buys. Don't really care. And with 2 picks remaining, probably just take a couple of running backs, I think would be how I would play this. I don't think I want to do a handcuffing with Giddens and Taylor. I'm not anti-handcuffing, at least not as anti-handcuffing as some people, but I don't think that's necessary on this team. I am pretty strictly Keaton Mitchell over Justice Hill. I'll take some Jarquez Hunter. I think Jarquez Hunter is going to be out there. He could potentially be a reasonable candidate for some spike weeks, and add him to the crew, and then likely take one more running back. OM Godlike, thank you so much for coming by. He says, no need to thirst for 3 QB. Yeah, I think there's definitely a temptation to jam 3 QB at all cost, and that I think can lead you astray, especially if you end up in a position where it doesn't line up with any kind of stacks and you're just taking like a random pocket passer to come in late. I'm open to taking 3 QB a lot. I definitely do it more than other constructions, but I don't think you need to do it 100% of the time, like you said. Dowdle in the 170s is a Michael Jordan reverse windmill. Jam it as RB4. Thank you, Dirty P. I appreciate you agreeing with the pick. Yeah, I like getting Dowdle there. To me that's like really nice spot. Especially he got some good coach speak early. Like he might be seeing the field more than we're expecting. Morning boys, says ATX Bearcat. ATX Bearcat, thank you so much for coming by. All right, it's 8:57. I'm going to queue up some running backs here. I'll add Rashard Smith. We'll just go if we can, we'll go kind of wild with the Kansas City thing. Keaton Mitchell, nice contingent back. I know I said wild with Kansas City, but Kareem Hunt is not invited to my wild Kansas City party. Neither is Jerome Ford, Mostert. Sure. No. This might be a Kyle Monangai team. This might truly be a Kyle Monangai team. If we did not get Roschon Johnson, then maybe we will get Kyle Monangai. I'll start recapping the team. I'm going to hop into a 30-second BBM after this. We'll see where it's at. If it's not going to fill, I'll swap over to a 20. So recapping the team, this is going to be a 2-6-7-3. Bo Nix and Caleb at QB. Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, RJ Harvey, Rico Dowdle, Jarquez Hunter, and one more running back, probably Kyle Monangai. T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy. All right, we'll just take Monangai. And there we go. T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Cortland Sutton, Luther Burden, Hollywood Brown, and Pat Bryant at receiver, with Kelsey Likely and Chig Okonkwo at tight end. Not bad. I mean, this team, it's an interesting team. I don't know about, Burden. Caleb's a little bit thin of a stack, but, if this team's a big bet on Denver being good, then, if Denver's not good, this team's dead. But if they are good, we could have built a kind of interesting squad. So here we go. I'm going to hop into this 30-second BBM. Let's see where we're at. Waiting for 2. All right, I'm going to wait for this. If you want to hop in, we are waiting for 2. Dirty P is calling for Hartman like we are at a Hartman seance. Oh, he said his name 3 times. Okay, so if Hartman appears, we could truly have a Beetlejuice sort of situation. Oh, I'm godlike. If I can get Russ or Show in the last round, I'll take. I'm a little more with you on Show than Russ. I definitely worry that Russ will not be there when you need him in week 17, whereas Tyler Show feels more apt to be there. Obviously, Tyler Show might never get on the field because he could just be really bad. I mean, there's not like they have a whole lot of options in New Orleans, but yeah. Anytime you're in a significant camp battle with Spencer Rattler, it might be hard to rely on you being there in the playoff weeks. It might look kind of crazy seeing oh my God, we were taking Tyler Show. He got benched like a Nathan Peterman kind of a situation. But let's see. So we got the 2 hole CLN 2013. Nice to see you in here. Don't think I see anyone else I recognize in the room. Will we make this another Saquon team? I think the answer is no. No, I'm gonna channel my inner slap and take Justin Jefferson at the 102. I find myself getting a lot of Saquon because I wasn't getting a lot of 1 and 2, but he would slide to 3 and 4. So starting the team off with wide receiver and see what we can get coming around. Usually you can get at least one in that sort of Taylor, Bucky, Chase Brown range and feel like you've gotten a pretty good start at receiver and running back. So we'll take what the room gives us, and we will start with a wide receiver here. Got to whittle down the possible suspect list. Dirty P on the search for Hartman. So this Joey Bags guy takes, as we talked about when the first stream first started, takes CMC over Genty. So interesting to see if that becomes more of a thing. Genty is going to go all the way at the back half of the draft. Interesting slide there, but he has been sliding lately. And again, don't know if that is related to the Mostert McCormick coach speak of them working in more, or if it's truly just people realizing that any rookie in the first round can be a little bit dicier of a bet than we want it to be. CLN 2013 only picks Genty in round 2. Now you might get your chance. We might get your chance. Nope, KC Pollock takes him there at 12. I thought you might have to. It's funny when there's a guy you don't like and you're like, oh, I'll take him if he slides, and then he slides and you're like, I don't know if I want him anyway. and then you have to like put your money where your mouth is. But I would probably have a trouble passing him at 15 if he were to come around. Our friend CLN 2013 takes Derrick Henry. Makes sense. A very robust start there. Nico Collins, Derrick Henry, like those picks. All right. All right, there goes Lad. Again, kind of a slow news period. I didn't really hear anything happen over the weekend. Hopefully, we get some exciting stuff happening in this week. Although taking CMC and A-Chain, Joey Bags, our badgeless high T resident there. Bowers at 19. Again, Bowers has been sliding. Bowers and McBride have begun to fall. McBride now starting to break into the third round, which is interesting because he was pretty much locked in the late second. You didn't see him go in the third too much, and now you see that with some frequency. J Moss takes Taylor. I would have loved if Taylor slid to me, but he did not. Let's see what our options are going to be. I would love Bucky. Bucky would be probably my preference. Bucky goes. So again, I just mentioned I don't get a lot of Higgins. I don't have a lot of Higgins in BBM, but I'll take him here. And again, we're going to try to push. We're going to try to push Burrow. We'll see if we're able to do that. I could potentially do the Higgins Brown start. Might just do Higgins Jacobs. I don't love Jacobs, but I also don't want to end up with none of him. That said, I don't really love stacking players I don't get a lot of on one team. I don't get a lot of Higgins. I don't get a lot of Jacobs. When I'm taking a guy I'm trying to catch up on, I don't want to like say I'm just going to pile everyone that I have like a low ownership onto one team. I don't think that's the best way to smooth out exposures. I have a lot of Wilson. So I think I'm going to, channel my inner piss boy here. I know I said I was hoping to get one of those running backs there, but I was really hoping to get one of Taylor or Bucky. And so we'll see what we can do. Donkey from Shrek, also a piss boy. So it's probably worth noting that he might be trying to take some running backs. If I'm trying to push a running back around the turn, might be a little harder. Interesting start here for purple and purple with no receivers, going Saquon, Bucky, and McBride. So, but yeah, McBride going there at 27. McBride, of course, is a bring back to the Bengals week 17. So you do see some tethering of McBride early here, going to the Higgins drafter, the Chase drafter, the Chase Brown drafter, but not in this room. There goes MHJ, McLaurin, and a Mike Evans, which I think that's a pretty early Mike Evans. Am I wrong? Yeah, I guess 5 picks of ADP, but 5 picks of ADP is a lot when you're talking the third round. Joey Bags, he gets a nice falling value on Josh Jacobs, but does he really need to take all of the running backs in the room? Again, this could be kind of a weird room. We will see. Don't love to see that though. Don't love to see all of one position going to one player, because that sometimes can create like runs on that player or runs on that position. It can end up getting thin. You might have to reach more. So I do like when I see it a little more even than one person like hoovering up someone, especially if I don't have any of that position. If I was sitting there with Saquon, I'd probably feel a little better than I do when I see somebody taking all of them. George Kittle at 37 is extremely early, but he would never be there at 60. So again, if you want to pair Kittle with BTJ, GT, and Hall, I guess that's what you got to do. So I'm honestly not too opposed to doing that. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit of sticker shock seeing a big ADP value, but he always goes over here. So, again, varying some of these things, varying some constructions makes sense, because again, you will get no BTJ Kittle teams if you don't do that. Maybe though, if you got like a falling BTJ, you could pair him up in the in the next round. All right. Let's see, Steve, GM, what's going on? Steve, thank you so much for stopping by this morning. If you all do not subscribe to the Fan Speak Network, you should. Steve's doing some awesome stuff over there, putting out a ton of content, and it's really great stuff. James started paying attention to which players and which rounds are likely to start positional runs and eliminators. You can force the room into giving you a crazy combo. I definitely could see that in the eliminator streaks. That is a good idea there. James Bruce, GM, thank you for coming by. Sticker shock, but don't hate it. Yeah, it's there's, as long as you're not giving up crazy amounts of projection, then I think that's fine. And I can't imagine that's the absolute worst thing to do to get some unique combinations, especially in like BBM where it can be hard to get particularly unique. So there goes Daniels. I think if I could take Omari and Hampton, I'd just take Omari and Hampton, going back to the running back run. No ADP value to be had here, but I think it would be a mistake to pass on Hampton in this room. I certainly have a little bit of concerns with Hampton, specifically that Najee Harris is going to be a big thorn in our side, but not enough to pass on him there. But let's see what Donkey from Shrek does. He takes Hubbard and Ken Walker. My goodness. So he noticed the running back panic, the great running back panic of 2025. And maybe we'll join it. Maybe we will take Joe Mixon. This is a little early for Mixon, but I feel pretty good about my running backs. I really like Houston's playoff schedule. I'll add Joe Mixon. This has been a weird room as far as backs go. I think there's some really good receivers you get in this 70-74 range. It would enable me to take like a one more back in the sort of Caleb, Henderson, Judkins kind of range as well. Swift, those guys. One of them will be there, and another good receiver. And of course, if Burrow is there, I could take Burrow. So we will see. 11 spot. Not worried about the wide receiver run. No. He is a true piss boy through and through. Steve, this is a 30-second BBM. A nice early an early morning BBM. We'll see where we're at when we're done. Again, trying to get everyone out of here by 10 for Pete's Best Ball Breakfast. If you're here, I'm sure you are aware of Pete's Best Ball Breakfast. I will be tuning into that when that goes live at 10 this morning. Jalen Hurts at 54 is a nice drop. Getting Devonta and Hurts is not uncommon, but it's easier to do when you're over there on the left side of the board. A little harder to get it here in the middle. So I like what Milk Truck, very balanced team so far, he's been able to put together. And looking over at the board, let's see if A.M. Carter 1983 continues to piss, or he capitulates and takes a higher T player. Let's see what his options are. So he could take Harvey, which he takes Romo Dunze. I cannot imagine passing on Harvey there. That is a brave soul. But Casey Pollock, seeing the run, room has gotten a little crazy with the running backs. Travion Henderson there at 60. A.M. Carter takes James Conner. Okay, so he just must be out on Harvey. Harvey has been falling precipitously since the Dobbins signing, which makes me like Harvey more in BBM because you're getting him way later than a lot of the earlier teams did. Like a quarter of the draft happened and people were taking Harvey in the 40s, and now you can get him in the 60s. So to me, that's pretty darn nice. Let's see. There was talk on D today about 20 versus 30-second clocks, and some finding the 30-second rooms are softer. I've only done 20-second clocks this year. Does anyone have an opinion? So for me, the 30-second clocks when I stream is just about, if I'm talking to all of you, that I have more time to think about my picks. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell if they're softer because I typically just do 20 seconds otherwise. For me, the biggest change that Underdog made was that they X, sorry, yeah, Bruce, I figured that's what you meant after I said it out loud. The biggest change they made was putting people on auto after 2 missed picks, and that makes the 30s go so much faster than they used to. So of course I cannot get the push. That's a big bummer. That would have been really nice there. I don't take much Jerry Jeudy. I think I prefer. This is an interesting call here. I take a lot of Golden. I don't take a lot of Reed, but I think I'm going to take Golden and then one of these running backs in this range, but I'm a little agnostic to them. Again, Burrow would have been so nice, but Purple had to protect the integrity of the contest and does not allow that. So this is interesting here, which running back I take. Of this bunch, Caleb is my favorite over Judkins and Montgomery. Judkins could be in a little more of a split than we want. I know we're in a split with Caleb, but I think they're just going to run the ball so much there, and I'm willing to make a bet on an Arthur Smith running back. So I'll take Caleb there. I think all of those guys would have been fine. Again, big bummer that we were not able to get Burrow, but some people just see something beautiful and they have to smash it. OMG, godlike. But should Harvey be by Tyrone Tracy? I don't agree with that, but I mean, I think Harvey's situation is quite different. The offense is going to be a lot better in Denver. Much better offensive line. I think they're going to win a lot more games, have better game scripts. I have a tough time seeing that comp. But you know, I certainly understand being bearish on Harvey. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is not nothing. He's still showed quite a bit of juice. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be annoying. But I agree with Steve here. I still see Harvey as the Denver RB. You want Dobbins to have a decent role, but not the top guy. Yeah, I think, again, I think I almost have a little bit of a pet theory that what happened before is we all were projecting Harvey to be kind of bell cow-y, but that was never going to happen. Like, he was always going to split with Jaleel and Estime and Beatty. Like, they just split it up. But now that it's Dobbins, I think that Jaleel, Estime kind of work just got consolidated to somebody else. And now we're kind of seeing like, oh, Harvey is going to be in a split. Like, but I don't know if it actually really changed anything for Harvey, but I think it changed our perception of it. I think it's just like an extinction event for those other ancillary backs in Denver. That's my kind of take on the situation. Sean Payton uses every player on the roster. Yes, he does. Anytime any running back would get on a rhythm in Denver, they would go sprinting off the field. I feel like that's a bit overblown. Payton has always had good fantasy running backs in New Orleans. Yeah, again, definitely an offense you want pieces of, and so I really like Harvey, and now I like taking Dobbins. Using 4 running backs now. Oh dear God, I hope not. I hope it's really like 1A, 1B minus, and then just like, I mean, most teams sprinkle in like a third back. I hope the third back there remains a sprinkle, whoever it is. I would guess it's like McLaughlin, but who the heck knows. Plus Marvin Mims. Well, again, I think if you want to FUD Marvin Mims, the Marvin Mims FUDders say that Harvey does everything that Mims could do behind the line of scrimmage. So I've definitely seen that. That if you want to make the bear case on Mims, you just say that he's going to see even less of the field, and he was already a part-time player. Steve agrees. He thinks it's Harvey and Dobbins. The hope is that Harvey can match Kamara efficiency. I can see it. Yeah, he's definitely like a guy I do not want to be out on. I think that that just seems bad. Seems bad. So we've got Jefferson, Higgins, Wilson, and Golden here. Trying trying to figure out what makes sense. Justin Fields, I think, might just be the priority if he comes to us. Donkey from Shrek doesn't have any quarterbacks himself, and you can absolutely take Fields naked. I don't see a particular reason to take any other quarterback. I'm going to take Fields and then hope I get Higgins because that would open Stroud, but I don't think it's worth passing on Fields at this point, or I could have some real problems. So I'll optimistically queue up Higgins and see if we can get him because, again, I think Mixon, Higgins, and Stroud would be nice. If not, then Cooper Kupp, who I do like quite a bit more than I think the best ball intelligentsia likes. So we will add Higgins to this team. That'll enable me to slow down at receiver. I still potentially have Kraft as a possibility. This could end up being the sort of classic Lovecraft turn because I don't have a tight end yet either. But again, these are things to think about. That would be a little bit early for that. You tend to, I guess, see that a little more on this side of the board. But again, if I'm going to talk about unique combos, then maybe, we won't see a lot of, Higgins, Wilson, Jefferson paired with, Love and Kraft, if that's more of a thing you do in the 130s than the 120s. All right. I doubt we see much of Estimate or McLaughlin if Dobbins and Harvey are healthy. I 100% agree with you there, Bruce. I don't think Sean Payton added all the RB capital to the team so we could give Mims, McLaughlin, Estimate larger roles. Well, you do not understand Sean Payton because he will just do things because he hates fantasy. He hates fantasy and wants you all to know it. So I could see him being like, oh, you thought I was going to use this guy I drafted? Because let's remember, Sean Payton loves nothing more than adding wide receivers to his team and then getting instant buyer's remorse and not using them. So hopefully he doesn't do that with these running backs. Jaleel McLaughlin might not make the team. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it would be Estimate would be if I had to pick an odd man out, but I don't know. I guess we will find out. We take into account Sean Payton's daughter liking Harvey and being there when he signed could be a huge rise for him, not just playtime. Well, let's hope Mike Rob, first of all, thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate you stopping in this morning. I do love the Instagram related takes, and hopefully they're just good friends because then you don't have the breakup risk, which could send Harvey to 0. So assuming they're just they're good friends, then I'm really bullish on that connection there. But I don't really know what's going on. Peyton drafted Estimate. He's not going away. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I worry that Peyton also benched Estimate in the playoffs. That's kind of lives rent free in my head. Dobbins in the 130s feels like value. Wish I was taking one free. Scarred for my Fournette bad. Yeah, Dirty P. I wish I had taken more of him myself. So let's see what is here. I think Stroud went. Stroud went while I was blabbing about Instagram, didn't he? Did I miss that? No. Where is Stroud? What's going on here? Oh, Stroud goes at 130. That's why I didn't see him. All right. Boy. I could try to take Kyle Williams and Drake May. I do like that. All right, let's do it. Let's risk it because everybody loves Drake May. And so if we can make this happen, then that would be kind of cool. If Donkey from Shrek takes Drake May, then we might just take Stroud here. Let's see what happens. We're risking it all. We're risking it all, folks. And I still need a tight end, so this might have been bad. Let's see if we can pull this off. All right, we got it. We got our guy. We got Drake May. All right. Cool. So far the team is a 2-3-6-0 with Fields and Drake May, Omarion Hampton, Joe Mixon, and Caleb Johnson at running back. Wide receiver room of Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, and Kyle Williams. So again, we passed on J.J. McCarthy there to take the shot on Drake May. Again, opinions may vary whether it made sense to kind of risk that to try to stack a second quarterback with a sixth receiver. In my mind, though, this could be a pairing that comes on pretty late in the season, be some kind of like late season hammer. Again, opinions may vary, but I do think 1-to-1 May versus McCarthy. There's a world where May outscores McCarthy, even in a game where Jefferson goes off. So again, just trying to vary some stuff, vary some structures, getting some different players in, but having to make some tough choices. Estime won't go away. His role won't grow from last year, and his role was inconsequential. Steve says Peyton chose not to play Estime in the playoffs, then went out and drafted Harvey in the second and signed Dobbins. Estime can be in the roster, but don't see him getting a good role. Yes, Steve, I agree that. I agree with that. I worry that everything Peyton has done since taking Estime has been like super bearish. Peyton saying that Estime is going to get his opportunities reads that it's ship out situation. Yes, he will get his opportunity to prove he is not terrible. Steve, Estime was like 20 years old last year. He was young, but he also wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. That's what I'm worried about. All right, let's see. If we can get McCarthy, I would be best ball euphoric there. But again, Purple and Purple likes to protect the integrity of this contest. So we'll see. Also, probably the Addison draft. There's probably one of these three if I had to guess. And so we will see. Milk Truck winds the clock, takes Romeo Dobbs. I will optimistically put McCarthy into the queue. And let's see, what should we take next? Probably one of these tight ends. Probably one of Goddard, Likely, or Fergie. And in that order as well. So let's see. John Moss, 88. He takes Fergie. Let's see, where is he takes Goddard, and he takes Benson. I'm going to take McCarthy. We got our guy. So this is going to be a 3 QB team. And if Isaiah Likely goes, then we're going with 3 very late tight ends in this room, because I don't want to reach for Kyle Pitts. This is a Kyle Pitts free zone, and we will take Isaiah Likely. All right, so it worked out. I like how this team's coming together. Our QB room feels really good with Fields, May, and McCarthy. We've stacked up Jefferson, we've stacked up Wilson, and we've stacked up Kyle Williams, which is, we're all really excited about about Kyle Williams. All right. Let's see. Y'all pray for my Tyler Beatty bags and X-Ball. Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you for being the last man on the island taking Tyler Beatty. So yeah, I was hoping we'd be able to get 3 drafts in before best ball breakfast, but I don't think that would happen. And even if I fire up a 30-second schnauzer, I don't think that will get done, unfortunately. So was hoping to do 3, but with a 30-second clock BBM, that was unlikely. But I am happy to get one of these BBMs, and I do like doing these BBMs on stream with you all. Dirty P, pretty sure I've already drafted the team you're drafting, Chad. Well, that would be something else. We'll see you in the finals, and we'll be duped. that would be quite the bit. We aren't drafting dynasty rosters. I don't see what age has to do with anything. I mean, I think the point is that, young players can get better. Like, I think sometimes we have a tendency in fantasy we live this like day-to-day life where we don't really see the passage of time. And then 3 years from now, sometimes it's easy to like stick to your priors, but players can improve. So I guess he's saying that he might just get better. Last year, Steve says, sure, that doesn't mean he's going to get a massive boost this year. Again, they added 2 guys I feel better about. Remember, their playoff team, and they will play the guys that help them win now. Yeah, that's my fear, is if Peyton thought he'd help them win in the playoffs, then he would have been starting. I think Estime will be on the roster, but just a pure backup. Again, that's also, I guess I'd say where I'm at, but I'm not. I thought McLaughlin would make it on the roster over him, but we will see. Coming back to us, definitely going to add at least one tight end, probably done at receiver with Jefferson, Higgins, Wilson, Golden, another Higgins, and Williams. This is probably going to be a 3-6-6-3 team. Probably Freiermuth and Henry, or one of these, at least one of these tight ends here. Remains to be seen. Trying to figure out if there's any difference in these running backs or not. Might take Pat Freiermuth. If they trade for Jonnu Smith, I'm going to feel like an idiot. But I do have Caleb, so it might make sense to take another little piece of Pittsburgh. Not a team that most people are high on, but I think Freiermuth is not a bad click there. And then I will take one of Wright, Allen, or Dowdle. I could pair Hunter Henry with Drake May, but Hunter Henry just doesn't feel like the biggest upside swing in the world. I'm just as happy ending with like a Juwan Johnson than I am taking Hunter Henry even in a stack. As far as these running backs, they're all again kind of in this backup-y range. Probably take Braylon Allen among all of them, just because of this taking Fields. We could have a Fields check down role. We could have Fields. Allen could see some contingent upside, and he frankly could just have like carved out a little bit of a role himself. So we'll add Braylon Allen to this team. So we've got a 3-4-6-2 with Fields, Drake May, McCarthy, running back room of Hampton, Mixon, Caleb, and Allen. Wide receivers of Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, and Isaiah Likely and Pat Freiermuth at tight end. All right. I realized CLN 2013, I have not been going through your team. So you have Nico Collins, Calvin Ridley, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs, Brandon Ayuk, Rashad Bateman at receiver. Running backs of Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, Ray Davis, Jaden Blue, and Isaac Guerrero. QB of Lamar Jackson and CJ Stroud, and then tight ends of Mark Andrews. So I like your team. I like that you've been able to build out a little bit of a Ravens bet with Lamar and Henry there. You were able to stack Nico with Stroud, and you also got Bateman. So CLN 2013 quietly building a very strong team here. I like what you have done with the crew. As far as me, I will be taking, depending on the tight ends available, a tight end and a running back, or two running backs is kind of the plan for this team. James Young says Jaleel McLaughlin is 5'7" and doesn't catch passes. He feels like the odd man out. Steve imagines Peyton keeps four backs, so estimate and McLaughlin can make it, but will have to contribute on special teams. I like this view. Everybody makes the team. Nobody gets cut. Everybody's on the team. You know what? I'm gonna make that my new take, is that we get all four. And then Tyler Beatty is the meme, just like drowning in the chair. Because we're all like, everyone makes the team and then he doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like he likes Beatty, so that's my concern, is that he's just like has his little like special teams pass blocky kind of role and doesn't go away. And one of the guys that we've seemed fantasy relevant are out. Estimate is deader than Antonio Gibson to rip my March bag. 661 Gibson and 533.53 estimate. Why were you drafting Antonio Gibson this year? 30p. No, you're better than that. Did we not learn from last year? Oh boy. I'm sorry, Dirty P. I am my heart goes out to you because Antonio Gibson is might be a Toronto Argonaut. Let's see. I'll take Giddens if he falls to me. I like him as one of these contingent upside backs. I think I'm not worried about Khalil Herbert. If he can't beat out Khalil Herbert, then he was never going to do anything anyway. That's kind of my opinion on that. But if Giddens goes, then we will have to select someone else. but he does not. So we will take Giddens here, and probably one more running back before we take a receiver, or maybe we'll just queue up Juwan Johnson and Chig Okonkwo. Trying to think if there's any reason to favor one over the other on this particular team. Kind of like both of them. I think I get a little more Juwan than I do Chig. I'll just add a Chig share. There's not really any kind of crazy bye week issue. So we'll take Chig. We'll take Chig. I think the sort of second banana on Tennessee is open, and I could see him getting that. I could see him potentially getting that bump in volume. So we'll add Okonkwo, and lastly, we will take a running back. I am soliciting suggestions for your favorite last round running back. If anyone has a bull case for anybody not named Estime, McLaughlin, or Beatty, I am all ears. McLaughlin played more special teams compared to Estime. Mike Robb, thank you so much for coming by this morning. James Young, $662. Gibbs' intervention worthy. Yeah, Dirty P, what happened, man? You could have just bought like a Gibson jersey for $130 on NFLshop.com. And that might have satisfied your need for the guy and just pocketed the other $500. Yes, all four backs will get them to the playoffs, and then will play the best backs in the playoffs. The Patriots' betrayal was so malicious. How dare they draft a running back with so many needs? Because one of their backs was Antonio Gibson, so running back was one of their needs. Dirty P, that's the problem. Oh, I'm with Dirty P pre-draft. I was all in on Gibson. I'm hoping he gets cut or traded somewhere. Dallas, please, Steve. It's always the ones you least expect. It's always the ones you least expect that are secret Gibson people. I don't know, Steve. I don't know how that happened to you. Peyton will grab Gibson too. Yes, and estimate, or ATN rather. Why not? We'll just end up. They're just going to run some kind of wing T wishbone 1940s offense and just have like 6 guys in the backfield. Steve, Gibson to Dallas would be a dream come true at this point. Antonio Gibson last round. It will make the team unique, except maybe from Dirty. Well, Dirty P's already duped this team, so now you're going to have to worry about him, Steve. So hopefully they open some new contests for us so that we don't end up with the same team as Dirty P. Taj Brooks pair up with T and X Wall. I do not hate that suggestion there. He's a guy that I am sprinkling in late, and from a running back bye week perspective, he adds up. So I'm certainly open to that pick myself. Let's see. I wish I'd started another draft before. I should have started it with a few minutes remaining, but alas, I did not. So Kareem Hunt, not sexy, but he's basically Jordan Mason in the 18th. James, do you really believe that? Do you think Kareem Hunt is Jordan Mason in the 18th? Jordan Mason showed quite a bit of juice last year, and Kareem Hunt did not. Kareem Hunt would gain yardage because he would fall forward, and he's a big dude, so he would gain 2.5 yards a carry because simply by just falling, he would do that. I have some trouble. Kyle Monangai could make some sense. I'm sympathetic to the Kyle Monangai bet as well. I am absolutely blanking on who the Bears play the last round, but I'm a little torn. I'm gonna defer to Steve. I'm gonna take Kyle Monangai. Because the guy who is taking Gibson unironically is the one you should listen to for late round running back advice. Steve, I'm just kidding. I do like Monangai. I think I took him last draft. All right, so this team ends up being 3-6-6-3. Justin Fields, Drake May, JJ McCarthy at quarterback. Strong QB room, in my opinion. Amarian Hampton, Joe Mixon, Caleb Johnson, Braylon Allen, DJ Giddens, Kyle Monangai. Maybe a little more contingent than I hope. Hampton, Mixon, and Caleb. I like to think that's a strong start, but certainly, there is some risk that these rookies are not as don't start out the leader of the backfield or are not are not quite the alphas that we're hoping for. But again, this team is going to need that to be the case. Wide receiver room of Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, and Kyle Williams. So a very young receiver room with 3 rookies as the last 3 picks, and an Isaiah Likely, Pat Freiermuth, and Chig Okonkwo. So I think this team's fine. Didn't get any kind of like massive ADP value, with maybe the exception of being able to get the later JJ McCarthy. That was a nice fall to be able to pair him with Justin Jefferson. All right. Let's see. Kyle Monangai, they play San Francisco. Gotcha. I should have known that. Steve is sharper than me, so I don't blame you. And X-Ball, no, I was torn there, and so he was sort of the last voice I heard, so I listened. I listened to him. I took Gibson in the biggest board and 2 bigger boards, so that's $450 of the damage. Yeah, I did one DK $100 pre-draft, and I have Derek Carr in it, so I know how it goes when you do like not big volume in the high dollar contest, and you just like vaporize money on complete dead players. They play the Packers week 16. Gotcha. So we get the Matthew Golden and Kyle Monangai show. So I guess before I go, if anyone's interested, I could pull up my exposures, so you can all have a hearty laugh if you want. I'll pull up I'll limit it to BBM. And all right. So that one did not update. I don't know if the last 2 have updated, actually. Again, we are too heavy on Scatabo and Tootin, but if you get past that, definitely more balanced. Pollard, Taylor, Hampton, Chase Brown, DJ Giddens, Mason. I don't think any of these stands are too crazy. Again, I was taking a lot of Tootin early, and of course he's a faller, so that doesn't look great. Scatabo temporarily fell because he was injured, but now that he's signed, he's miraculously healed. So again, Scatabo's a guy that I'm super high on. I know Steve is high on him as well. So again, do I want this to be 36.8? Probably not. That's probably too high. But I wouldn't mind that being around 25% by the time the contest closes. I don't really want to go crazy with exposures. And you'll see with quarterback, I'm a little flatter. I get a lot of Justin Fields, 21%. And I'm really big on Fields. I think if he's playing all 17 weeks for us, then that's going to be a huge value around pick 100. Otherwise, again, somewhat flat as far as quarterbacks. Take a lot of late Cam Ward because he represents a little bit of a bailout stack that you can get there. Steve takes plenty of Brooks as well. Just feeling Monangai could have a bigger rise up the board for BBM. Yeah, if there could be a Monangai drumbeat, I can start to hear that as well. Are you still clicking the top 2 guys? I don't know if you're talking to me about Tootin and Scatabo. On the right team, I definitely would, but if there's other guys in the range, I'm backing off. If you're talking to Steve, if the top 2 guys are Swift and Roshan, I don't know. I guess you were probably talking to me. Sympathetic to Kyle Monangai, but I'm a donkey for drafting Gibson. That story checks out. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure if I looked at my pre-draft exposures, it gets pretty sketch. Wide receiver, J-Mo, Garrett Wilson, Trey Harris, Calvin Ridley, Ty Felton, Juwan Jennings, Diami Brown. I am huge on Jameson Williams, big Jameson Williams bull. I cannot click him enough, so it's not surprising to see him up there. Again, 28 to 30%, the absolute ceiling. So I want to make sure I keep this exposure in check. Garrett Wilson, I love him. He was a first-round pick last year. I don't know why he goes so late. His main target competition left. And I think Fields can support a wide receiver 1. This Ty Felton number is too high. I've backed off of that, but he ended up being a late pick on a lot of on almost all my McCarthy teams. So and as a bring back on Lions teams. Probably don't want that too high, but have plenty of him. And Tight end, I think Brenton Strange is very underpriced. To me, the most underpriced guy on the board. I just took Chig instead of Juwan because I thought I had more Juwan than Chig. Turns out I don't. I got more Juwan. But those Juwan and Chig are definitely my favorite late round clicks. And Hawkinson just goes in a range where I find a lot of comfort taking him as my first tight end. Again, maybe 18% is a little high. Probably want that closer to 12 to 15% before the contest ends. Cam Scat is my most drafted in BBM 2. If you refresh 1 or 2 times, it should add in the 2 latest BBMs for your exposures. Okay, all right. Yeah, I've got to refresh it to update my my banner, so I'll do that off stream. No, he would. Okay, yes, James cleared it up. He's asking if I'm still relentlessly clicking Scat into. I'm trying not to, but I make no promises. I'm on the board with the Manungai thesis. He doesn't have anyone who can keep him off the field if he moves up the depth chart. Yeah, I mean, again, there has been some positive talk about Manungai, so we'll see. I mean, he's free right now, and he may not be free for long. Yeah, my thoughts on 2 of the 3 Bears back should get work and can hit volume. Now it's picking the right 2. Absolutely, as the saying goes, in an ambiguous backfield, take the cheapest one, and that's what we're doing there with Manungai. But everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. It was a fun little stream this morning. If you could please like and subscribe, that does a lot to help me out. Best Ball Breakfast starts in about 15 minutes, so as they say, I'll give you back a little of your time in every meeting. God, nobody likes hearing that. It is the absolute worst, so I'm not going to say it. But again, thank you all so much for coming by. Ant X-Wall has a 1% Roshan and Swift post-draft. Yikes, I have a lot more than that. Where am I with Swift? So Swift and BBM, I guess I only have him in 2 BBMs. And then Roshan, I have in 13. If I don't limit this to BBM, and I make this all of my post drafts, then yeah, the 2 number comes way down. Roshan goes up to 16, and Swift is at closer to 8. So if I don't limit it to BBMs, then some of these exposures are flatter. When I've only done 40 of a contest, then taking him in a few, you can end up. I've had a lot of picks towards the last part of the draft, so you can end up taking a lot of the same guys back there. But my exposures are going to be a little flatter overall. So again, Luther Burden 21%. Big yikes. Took a ton of him in the puppy. Took way too much Luther Burden in the puppy. But again, thank you all so much for coming by. Yes, Scatavo still at the top, and he will be at the top when the summer concludes, unless we get some really negative news. But again, thank you all so much for coming by, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Take care.